for the SSA game of the week, second one of the week out here in the Dome. Teams are finishing up batting practice, so we will be starting the game very shortly. We'll go over a few rules as I'm going to try to, as again, we're going through all this third-party stuff, so we will be getting everything squared away, and we'll have everything set up for you. Thought we'd get on there since we're kind of doing it in case anybody wanted to check the streams and was a little worried that we weren't going to be live tonight. So we're doing all of that right now, and it's looking good. It looks like it's all going out and live. Again, we're having to scramble here because of Facebook issues, so not too happy about that. You can see the teams are walking in. I'm going to rotate the camera, folks, just for a split second. Makes me easier to check some of the chat overlays so that I'll be able to make sure that I can see it. And so we'll launch that. Get the camera back normal. And the chat is ready to display. So we have Inc. and Hexx. Hexx did merge with the Sauce guys, so they're going to be a different looking team this year than what we're normally used to seeing. And I believe Inc. might have gone through some type of a merger also with the Impact team. So first look at these renovated new look ball clubs. So what you're about to see, for those of you who are new to the broadcast, is Chicago's 16-inch style softball, no gloves being worn, and we are indoors, so the Dome kind of changes things a little bit. What we're talking about here is this is the smallest field that we play on, 210 down the lines, 235 to dead center field. It's all turf. Short walls, about maybe 3.5 feet tall, so we see a lot of ground rule doubles. We do have a roof. If the ball hits the roof and it doesn't hit the netted area, it is a ball that can be caught for an out before it hits the ground. If it hits the ground and it's a fair ball, it's all you can get. 60-foot bases, you can lead off, but you can't steal. 38 feet from the rubber to home. Pitcher does get what we call a drag step, one step left, right, or back, because we're playing no glove. If we were playing glove, they'd be anchored to the rubber. 6-12 on the arc, 1-1 count. Pitcher gets 2 fakes or hesitation. Third arm action must be to deliver the ball home. A throw or a fake to a base is considered one of your throws or fakes or hesitations, I should say. We use a 16-inch clincher. It is not a mush ball. Comes out of the box pretty firm, and on turf, it'll stay pretty firm the whole game. Because of the short dimensions, you only get 4 home runs per team, and it's important that the teams use them judiciously, as you don't want to waste them on solo home runs. So that's about it. We use heavy bats. They can weigh up to 38 ounces, 34 inches long, and 2 1/4 on the barrel. So if anybody's tuning in, drop me a quick comment so I can just confirm that this chat overlay is working so I can see the comments. So leading off, it's going to be Jeff LeVar for Inc. He'll be followed by Tommy Norton and then Cody Neidenbach. And I really like Cody's game. I thought he took a big step up last summer, and he had some good weekends and very talented guy. And Jeff LeVar hits a little flare, foul down the line, so 2 strikes. Of course, Jeff related to Tommy LeVar, who is running the ball club tonight. Of course, Tommy ran the Impact team for quite a few years as well. So just underway, top of the first. And Jeff, a little soft pop-up over to right center, and the right fielder jogs over and makes the play. That's Mike Oliver made the play. He called off the center fielder. And that's going to bring up Tommy Norton. And Tommy swings, bounces it off of Brian Sloan, and that'll be an infield hit.
Hey, make sure one there.
So a hard one hopper to the pitcher's left hand. He couldn't make the play, and we got our first base runner of the evening. And that brings up Cody Neidenbach. And he does got a lot of pop, but realistically, with only getting 4 home runs, and there's a hard ground ball taken by the first baseman, Greco, and he'll step on it for out number 2. You really don't want to hit solo shots, 2-run homers. I guess late in the ball game, if you got extra home runs, you might think about it. But early in the ball game, you really don't want to use a home run on 1 or 2 base runners. Here's Liam Mulcrone. Last night in the game we broadcast live, the dummies really did a good job. I think they hit either a couple of 3-run homers or one of them might have been a slam, and Liam flies out to end the inning. So they do get an infield hit. They can't do anything with it. We'll head to the bottom of the first, no score. Again, we are live out here in Rosemont, Illinois, in northwestern. I don't know if this is really considered that far west, but northern suburb of the city of Chicago. And even though it's a damp, miserable day outside, very pleasant here in the dome. So it's going to be Curtis Ostrom leading off. Then it'll be Nick and Al Rice. Anybody gets on, Mark Holstein. So again, if anybody's checking out the streams, please feel free to drop a chat comment in there. I just want to make sure this overlay is working. So they redesigned my third-party software, and they made the buttons a little rough to get to. So here's Curtis. Curtis, longtime Hexx member, played with Smackout when he was younger, when CJ was running that team. And Curtis tries to go down that right field line. That's going to be way out of play. And I'm fond of saying he's the straw that stirs the drink. Usually when Curtis is playing at a high level, Hexx tends to roll pretty good. Curtis versatile, can play anywhere in the outfield, and we've seen him play some infield. There he beats it onto the ground, short center, just nips him. So Junior Villalobos, oh, I'm sorry, Junior is playing second tonight. Short center, Tommy Norton made that play. So here's Nick Casanos, I believe is his last name. And Nick rifles one down the right field line, fair, and that's going to not bomb. Now it gets past the screen. That'll be a ground rule double. So they're probably going to send. Is he going to send Nick back here? The ball did go beyond the fence. It's open down there. Liam Mulcrone was kind of boxing with it, and they're going to give him the home run on that. So first lead of the ball game here. Hexx jumps ahead 1-0. It brings up Al Rice. Only one out here in the top of the first. And now And now Al tries to go to right, and that's going to fade way out of play. Al has got tremendous power, but for a big guy, he's a little different type of hitter. He likes to hit humpbacks from left center field over toward right center. Every once in a while, he'll load up, and he's a guy to watch later in the ball game. If Hexx should get a couple of base runners, he may try to go. And there's a bullet line drive into the gap, and that's going to bounce up into the net for a ground roll double. And that is the typical Al Rice base hit right there. Just a hard humpback line drive toward a gap. And Al is difficult to defend because he's so strong, you got to play him deep. And that's going to bring up Mark Holstein. So 1 out, 1 on, 1 out in the first. So we got a little symmetry, and there's a hard ground ball handled by Jake McTeague. Jake, I don't know if he was running in to keep Al at third or if he maybe forgot how many outs there were. So the base runner did advance, and here's Greco. Little Bird told me there were a couple of teams that took a run at Greco this off-season trying to pry him off of this Hexx team. We won't mention the team. We don't like to start problems. And there's a high pop-up. Neidenbach is there. He puts it away for the third out. So 1-0 at the end of one here as Greco pops up. So coming up here for Inc. will be Pat Devereaux, Jake McTeague, and Joey Krasinski. So we got a lot of softball coming up this fall for you. Still waiting on the intentional sports information. And once we get that, we'll be doing a few Friday night games. Of course, we got the Turkey Bowl coming up in about 15 days or so. Thanksgiving Day, we'll be out at Harrison Park. And that's always a fun event. And that is a fundraiser where guys just sign up and they get assigned teams. Here's Pat Devereaux. And so got a lot of stuff going on. And there's a little flip the other way. Right on the spot is Curtis Ostrom, little basket catch for out number 1. Brings up Jake McTeague. And Jake, a young kid, he's shown terrific promise with the bat. Really loves 16-inch softball, this kid. You're very rare you'll be at any type of softball tournament event, whether it's men or co-ed, and you won't see Jake out there. Gives it a ride, but the center fielder drifts back, puts it away. So Donnie Sullivan makes the catch in center field. So 2 quick outs here brings up Joey Krasinski. Little lefty playing left field tonight. And there's a little pop-up, and Brian Sloan a little trouble, but he makes the catch. So Inc. goes 3 up, 3 down, and we'll head to the bottom of the second. And of course, Chris Harris has told me he might be doing 1 or 2 overnight tournaments out at Aurora. And we'll try to get out there. Hopefully he'll be doing them on days that aren't too cold. That's kind of an older dome, and when it gets cold out there, it can be frigid. So we'll try to do 1 or 2 of those over the winter as well. So a lot of softball still to come. Here on SSA Broadcasts. Hopefully we're going to get our Facebook issues cleared up so that you all can go back to watching the games on Facebook. But for now, it's X and YouTube. So never a bad idea to follow us on both. And there's a line drive, and Junior Villalobos got a great jump on it, and he robs Rob Scahill of a base hit. So here's Smokey Kruger. This game's starting out a little bit slower than that Dummies Iron game yesterday, which ended up being kind of a thrilling finish after the Dummies came out and were pounding the ball. And Smoke, and that ball is not going to hit the roof, and getting there is the left fielder right in the deep corner where the outfield netting and the wall come together there. So nice job there by the left fielder, Joey Krasinski, as that ball was right up by the roof but never touched it. And here's Brian Sloan. And there's a little ground ball up the middle, little problem by Junior, and they call him out at first for the third out. So both teams go 1, 2, 3 in the second, and we'll head to the top of the third. Still no score, or 1-0, excuse me. Leading off here in the top of the third for Inc. I'm sorry, for Hexx, I should say. It's going to be Jack Nakanishi, Matt Eberhardt, and Roberto Villalobos Jr. And I'm sure somewhere Marla is tuned in to watch both Jake and Junior. So here's Jack, member of the Circus Ball Club. And that ball is off the net for a strike. Jack has the distinction of having pitched 2 separate teams to a no-glove national championship out at Forest Park. He did it with Chicago Dynasty. And there's a bullet, and out of self-defense, Brian Sloan knocked it down, stayed with it, made the play. And then a few years later was on the hill when Circus won the no-glove national championship out at Forest Park. So it brings up Matt Eberhardt. Matt won a batting title at an SSA Class A glove national championship back in the day. And there's a little soft fly ball, and coming over is the right fielder, and he makes that play, Mike Oliver.
Hey, 1 step back out there.
So 2 up, 2 down, and here's Roberto Villalobos Jr. And Junior's another kid, young kid. Right now his offensive game a little further along than his defensive game. Got an opportunity to moonlight a little bit with High Y out in the Forest Park League last summer. And Junior, pretty good looking younger hitter. And there's an overhand chop hard down the line, just foul. So that'll go as a strikeout. That didn't miss by much. If it was fair, it would have certainly been trouble, but goes as a loud strikeout. So we head to the bottom of the third. Hexx coming to bat. And it'll be Rory, Richie Battistoni, and then Donnie Sullivan. And Hexx is hitting 12 tonight. So any of you that are doing the math at home can check that out. So much slower start. I mean, we're in the top of the fourth, and there's only been one run scored. A little unusual when you consider the short dimensions of the turf and the fact that the roof oftentimes buys you a few hits. There's a ground ball up the middle. Can't make the play. So the short center got over there. Tommy Norton, he did not catch the ball clean. It did stay there, but as he was getting ready to plant to be able to make the throw, his foot slipped. And that'll happen. Sometimes guys come on the turf and they just wear gym shoes. Obviously, you can't wear metal here, but they do allow you to wear turf shoes. And there's a little soft fly ball. Liam makes the catch, the throw to second. Norton tried to play possum, acting like there was no throw. Corey slid hard. Norton dropped the throw anyway, but so he does move the runner. Here's Donnie Sullivan now. Chance to maybe drive in the second Hexx run of the ball game. With Mike Oliver again. Danny, Mike, Brian, Rory are all sauce guys that have come over to Hexx. And he hits a little fly ball. Curtis is there. And he throws it in. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not Curtis. That's Joey Kaczynski. So here's Mikey Oliver. If it keeps the inning alive, Curtis Ostrom will hit. It's a little disoriented at times when you come to the Dome because a lot of teams aren't wearing uniforms. And there's a big 2-out hit. And big wide turn, and whoa, he dove head first. And because of the angle, he actually didn't make it to the bag. He was about a foot short. But Junior, the second baseman covering, dropped the throw. Had he caught that, he would have had an easy tag. So we see Amalia has found the live stream. Here's Curtis. And he hard cuts it right at Neidenbach. Long throw. And they call him out. Curtis, hey, that's a pretty nice kick. And like I always say, you can check the tape. They do push a run across. They go up 2-0. So if you're an Ink fan, so we head to the top of the I think it's the fifth inning. So we go to the top of the fifth. You're down a deuce. That's the bad news. The good news is you got the top of your lineup coming up. And I guess part of the good news is you're only down 2-0. A lot of times when you get to the fifth inning and you're getting shut out, you're down a lot more than 2. So Jeff LeVar, Tommy Norton, and Cody Neidenbach. Again, I'm not sure if that's the right inning. And And there's a little pop-up. That'll be foul and not a play. It could be, since they're getting shut out. I don't know if it's mathematically possible to be the 5th, so we'll check on the inning, folks. Normally I keep track of it, but they have a scoreboard. So today I'm not keeping track of the innings. And Jeff LeVar trying to get himself on base. Again, 2 runs, not a lot of a difference in a dome game. And there's a little short flare running out Smokey Kruger, and they'll make that play. Of course, Smoke first saw him on Southside Mint, and he has played a lot of outfield, so going and tracking a ball in the outfield grass, what would be the outfield grass, not a problem. Tommy Norton. And Norton hits that ball good, but right at the center fielder, and he puts it away. So they have made a change in center. Donnie Sullivan started, but Hexx has got quite a few players out here today, so it looks like they're rotating people. Here's Cody Neidenbach now. 2 outs, nobody out. And Cody tries to go the other way. And you know, earlier I was saying you don't want to waste home runs with nobody on base, but Inc. right now struggling a little bit. And if you're Cody Neidenbach, if Brian Sloan throws you something flat, you may want to try to go yard just to wake your group up. And he hits that one high and deep. If it's fair, and it is, Cody Neidenbach breaks the seal and cuts the lead in half with a solo homer.
Hey, all over, come on.
And like I said, sometimes you just want to wake the group up a little bit. And so as a result, you'll take that. Now every batter in the box is the tying run, and Liam goes the other way. And a nice play there as Mike Oliver almost overran it. But he stayed right with it, had to reach back actually to make the catch. So we're going to head to the bottom of the, I guess, 5th inning. Kyle, is that the right 5th? 4th, okay, that's what I thought. The math didn't work out for guys getting their second at-bat in the 5th inning when you're only hitting 10. So it's the bottom of the 4th, 2-1. So here's Nick. He'll be followed by Al and then Mark. Halfway through, 2-1 ball game. Surprising score, as both of these teams got some pretty decent hitters on it. I'll attribute some of that, and Nick hits a foul ball up into that netting. I'll attribute some of that to the fact that some of these guys probably haven't swung since Labor Day. And so sometimes when you take a couple of months off, you're just a little bit off in your timing. It didn't seem to affect the dummies yesterday, but they had a game last week as well. So Nick hits that ball pretty good toward the alley. No one's going to get to it, and it's going to bounce over for a ground rule double. So Nick drove that ball right into the alley. Nothing either outfielder could do. Ball hit the turf and jumped over. And that brings up Al Rice. And again, in a 2-1 ball game here, let's see if Al alters his thinking. And if he maybe tries to go deep just to get a little separation here. And he does, and it's gone way up into the net. Al Rice, 2-run homer.
I get an assist.
Both teams now with 1 home run apiece. And now they got their biggest lead of the night, 3-1. And that was a no-doubt line drive. Realistically, outside, the outfielder might have been a couple of steps deeper and might have been able to make that play, but we're not outside. So here's Holstein, and he hits a ball into the gap, and that ball hits the top of the wall and goes over for a double. Second ground rule double this inning. So it's ground rule double, dinger, and then double. So that's going to bring up Greco. Still nobody out here. So Hexx kind of was drifting along. And Greco pounds it to center, caught. Strong throw in, but Curtis, the courtesy runner, easily gets the third. As it's a pretty good throw there by the center fielder, but so that's the first out of the inning, and it brings up Rob Scahill. And Rob tries to go deep, but it hits the roof, and that's going to drop in for a single, and that'll score the 5th run of the inning, or the ball game, excuse me. And we told you the roof sometimes does come into play. Had it not hit the roof, I think it would have been out of here. The right fielder, Liam Mulcrone, had turned to race to the wall. There was no chance he was going to stop. And the ball hit the roof far enough out that the second baseman, Junior Villalobos. And there's another base hit toward the alley, another double, another run. So Hexx, after getting challenged in the top of this inning a little bit, has put up 4 here. Smokey Kruger, stand-up double into the alley in left center field, and here's Brian Sloan. And Brian just going the other way, and Junior Villalobos can't make the play. Runners on the corner now. So Brian, trying to give himself up, got the bonus. We talk all the time on the streams how it just seems weird that when you do the right thing, sometimes you get that little bonus of a bobble or a mistake. And here's Corey. And Corey, a little ground ball, Neidenbach, and everybody's safe. The short center, Norton, a little bit of a brain fart there, didn't get to second. Junior Villalobos didn't cover either from the second base position. And in the confusion, everybody's safe and a run scores, 7-1. And here's Richie Battistoni, and don't be surprised if he doesn't try. And that ball is going to get out of here, 3-run shot for Richie Battistoni. So Hexx taking advantage. Bushel basket of extra base hits this inning. 2 home runs, good for 5 runs. And they pushed out from that 2-1 lead to 10-1. And that's going to bring up the young man who came in for Donnie Sullivan. Kyle, what's this kid's name?
Brandon.
And there's a ground ball for Kyle. What's that kid's name? Brandon? So that was Brandon. Came in for Donnie Sullivan. He grounds out to first. So let me put Brandon on the card here. Again, no numbers on the uniforms tonight. And that's going to bring up Mikey Oliver. And Mikey got a big 2-out hitter. And there's a base hit for Mikey. Big turn. He's going to try it, throw to second, and he's safe. Another extra base hit this inning. And Jack is flattening out just a hair here. And Hexx is taking care of business. Bottom of the fourth as they've broken this open a little bit. And again, 2 outs with the mercy run here. Curtis, a little pop-up, coming in as the center fielder, and he juggles it but makes the catch. 10-1 as we head to the top of the fifth here. As Hexx, it seemed like every hit that inning was extra bases. Smoke showing the guns. Might have been squirt guns, but he did show them. And if you are Inc. now, you want to score a couple of runs here because Hexx will have the top of their lineup and they'll be in a position where they could maybe get the mercy rule on you. And this is going to be a little different looking type of Hexx team, but it does look like they're going to have more bodies and maybe a little more versatility than they've had in years past. And I think you always got to wonder how the sauce guys are going to kind of fit in and how long it'll take them to gel, but they look pretty solid tonight. And that's going to bring up Pat Devereaux. And Pat goes the other way and dumps it in front of Curtis for a leadoff single. Brings up Jake McTeague. And ideally, if you were the Inc. team, you'd like to maybe get a couple of base runners or bases loaded and have somebody pop one out of here and crawl back in a hurry. Jake McTeague, Kruger to Scahill. And Rob threw a fastball into the dirt. Greco on the stretch just couldn't handle it. So they get the fielder's choice. Brings up Joey Krasinski with Jack Nakanishi on deck. And there's a little fly ball, and he gets over the top of Oliver. McTeague chugging. They're going to send him, no. And now they had Krasinski held up a little bit. I'm not quite sure why they held McTeague there. I think he would have scored, but they are down 9. Brings up Nakanishi. 1 out here, second and third. Matt Eberhard on deck, and then Junior Villalobos. And Jack just tried to pooch it down that line. And I think Jack got a break there. Corey was all over it. If that ball is fair, I think it's going to be caught. Jack really didn't push it out there. Too much air under it. And Corey's got decent wheels for an older player. And Jack, a little fly ball. Curtis makes the belly catch, fires it toward the plate. Not in time, but it was a good throw in the sense that it was on line with Brian Sloan, the cutoff man. That prevented Krasinski from moving up from second base. 2 outs now. 10-2 for Matt Eberhard. And again, Matt's a good hitter. What you want right now is a base hit. And Junior Villalobos got a little pop. Maybe you get a long one and you put 3 up. and you cut it to a 5 and dime game. And that's a little soft flare. Everybody running in. Center fielder Brandon made a running, tumbling catch. Curtis is pretty nimble. He didn't run into him. Good job by Brandon all the way. That looked like it was going to be trouble. So the mini threat is over. We head to the bottom of the 5th, 10-2. Oh, I'm sorry, Carly. Was that calling him Rory? Or Corey? Should know that. Of course, Carly is Rory's sister. They have a very close-knit family. Speaking of close-knit family, I believe this is Carly's better half. So Nick rounds out to Junior for out number 1. Brings up Al Rice. Last time he airmailed a 3-run bomb into the net as a part of that 8-run 4th inning. And Al back to hitting his line drives. Strokes one in front of Liam Mulcrone for a 1-out base hit, and brings up Mark Holstein. I do crack up when I'm live streaming a game and there are people in the park watching the game and commenting, and Mark Holstein, and that hits the roof, and that's a foul ball. What's I think really funny, what I think is really funny, is when I'm doing a game and one of the players participating in the game is in the dugout writing comments. So here's Mark Holstein again on the reset, and there's a little soft flare. Junior Villalobos makes the catch as Mark. So Tommy is going to pinch hit here for Greco.
Hey, 2 out. Come on,
and there's a little spinner, but it's going to kick foul.
Stay with your ball. Stay with your ball. Who are you, G? I want to tell you. I want to talk to your dad about that.
And Tommy's really dug in there. Must have played a lot of baseball with that stance. And that ball is going to drop in. Base hit. Throw to third. Ill-advised. Al was going to get there easily. And that allows Tommy to get to second.
Good ball, kid.
So here's Scahill. A long one here would end the ball game and make it 13-2. Smoke Kruger on deck. And I think Jack is talking to Tommy LeVar, and they're actually thinking about maybe walking him. They decide not to. Let's see if this is the intentional walk. And Scahill off the end of the bat. I don't know if it's got enough. It does. It didn't sound good. He airmails a 3-run homer. 13-2 will be your final score. And I think that's why they were talking about whether they were going to walk him. Smokey Kruger is a good hitter, but not necessarily the home run threat. And that's a perfect example with these small dimensions. It sounded like Rob got that off the end of the bat. And outside, it might have been a lazy fly ball, but it did carry out of here. And the new look Hexx team off to a good start here as they win 13-2. And Liam Mulcrone does tend to get a little fired up, folks. So we hope you enjoyed the broadcast. We'll be out here again next week. Stay with us. We're working on the Facebook issues. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast.